Well, hello again. 2 videos, 2 days. It's going down. So today I wanted to discuss similar, it kind of is complementary, supplementary to yesterday's video about our worth, finding our worth, finding my worth. I've been dealing a lot with the aspect of the ego, delving into it, becoming more aware of it. Now, what I mean by the ego is in spiritual terms, people think, I think they look at the ego as the mind itself, as the thing that separates us from ourselves. So the ego in this physical reality is very necessary because it allows me to understand that I am me. This is a hot burner. I don't want to touch my hand on the hot burner and burn the shiza out of my hand. But also it can be very detrimental to us because it says I am me, you are you, I have to look out for me, you have to look out for you. So that idea of separateness, it also can be the idea of I am better than somebody, or I am not worthy enough for somebody. So what I really kind of wanted to discuss was just the ego in itself, what I've found to be the most difficult things to deal with the ego. Now, before I had met my current girlfriend, my twin flame, I thought I had dealt with a lot of things. I thought I had examined the ego, had understood the ego, had resolved the issues with the ego, had let go of insecurities, had let go of things that made me feel unworthy about myself, little aspects in my own mind, in my own ego. But then I realized I hadn't dealt with any of that shit. This person comes along and just makes me question everything. Makes me question who I am, why I act the way I do, and makes me want to be the best version of myself. And I've been realizing that the ego holds on so tightly to the idea of itself, to the idea of individual consciousness rather than unity consciousness, the idea of me and you rather than the idea of us. And like yesterday's video was me talking to myself, as many of you know. I had felt unworthy, not by anything that my partner had done, but simply because of past conditioning, of situations, of experiences, of interactions that I've had in the past that have made me feel unworthy, of limitations that I feel that I've pressed upon myself based on the desires that I have and the unfulfilled desires that I have accomplished. So that ego, that state of separateness, that state of individuality is beautiful, it's fantastic, it's wonderful. We are each different. We are each perfect expressions of the divine consciousness, of the infinite source. And when I use terms like that, they're very hard to realize, to understand. And that again is part of the ego. Divine consciousness, what does that mean? The infinite source. It's very difficult to understand a lot of these things because the ego, the mind, just doesn't have the capabilities of conceiving such grandeur. It is such an infinite, illuminating presence that is within us, that is who we are. And because of the way we've structured this reality, we are unable to tap into that simply for the fact that we can live our lives as human beings. But what I believe, and what I've, accumulated on my journey, sorry, my eye keeps itching, is that if we can take that awareness of, I am beyond my mind, that every time I feel better than somebody, it is the ego taking a hold of me. Every time I feel less than or not as worthy as somebody else, it is the ego taking a hold of me. And when I can sit there in silent meditation, in prayer, in contemplation, in just being with yourself, being with your lover, being with your dog, being with your family, sit in quiet and examine that, I dissolve deeper than the ego. And I have this awareness that I am infinite, that I am eternal, that I am beautiful, that I am interconnected with every other living being, human, plant, animal. And that every time I think I am separate from that, I'm pressing limitation on myself. Every time I decide to say I am better looking than that person, or that person is way more attractive than me, or that person is smarter than me, or even in joking, every time I say, I'm dumb, I'm not that attractive, haha. Every time I am self-deprecating to make others around me feel better, it's the ego taking hold. And every time I use that word I am telling myself that's what I am. So the recognition of the ego is the desolation. Is that the right word? The recognition of the ego is the elimination of the ego. When I understand something, I can then work on not changing it so much to speak, because you want the ego, but of the not allowing it to control you anymore. Sinking deeper into my presence, into my heart, sinking, living there, disregarding the illusion of separateness that my ego oftentimes likes to grab hold of. I think that's it. I think that's it for today, my beautiful friends. So, as always, I appreciate you watching. This again was just me talking to myself. Hopefully it resonated with you as well, and I always appreciate you guys watching. I love you very much. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.